Okay, lesson 22. Hatha Yoga Pradipika, chapter 2. Now, before lunch, we read Sutra 11 to 20. We're going to continue with Sutra 38. Why the gap? Because Sutra 21 up to 37 is Kriya. We have done Kriya already as an introduction towards pranayama. Then we went back to the beginning of chapter 2. So we read Sutra 1 to 20 and we skip Kriya now because we read already. And we continue with after Kriya, which is Sutra 39. Sutra 38 is the last exercise, Gajakarani. So 39 then says, even Brahma and the other gods devoted themselves to the practice of pranayama because of the fear of death. So one should practice control of energy. So let's talk about religion. We live in an age where people are very sophisticated, very highly educated, and yet religion is very poorly understood. To understand religion, you have to look at it from a point of view of ancient people who were not sophisticated, who were not highly educated, not educated at all. They were very simple. If you don't know that, you look at this sutra and you think, yoga is a religion, it's talking about God. So let me tell you something about God. The symbol of God is an indication that something is important, that something is of a higher order than normal. That's all. There is no God. Not in the sense that there is somebody up there who is watching you. There is the universe. And there is an amazing logic in the universe. But let's keep it short. Why is there a mention of God here? It is to emphasize the importance of the practice of pranayama. That's all. There is no God that practices pranayama, as this sutra is saying, that even the gods practice pranayama. It's only telling an uneducated person, hey, pay attention, this is really good. In just popular language. This is really good. So we will come back to this in the future, especially in the advanced course also, because it helps you to understand all the religions that we have and the rituals that we have, religious rituals, that are, by most people who practice them, not understood. All that this is doing is drawing your attention here and say, hey, pay attention. This is so good. You must practice it too. Because the gods do it too. And you would think the gods are so high, they don't need it, but even they do it. See what I'm doing here? That's it. The fear of death is what I mentioned before also, is not physical death. It's the spirit in you, your enthusiasm, your ki, your vital energy. And I say again, look around you and you will see, not here but outside, that most people are lacking vital energy. The spirit has died. I know this now because it happened to me. Throughout my life, my spirit died several times too. But when you are a yogi, and you are used to having these high levels of energy and living from the heart, every time your spirit dies, you want that condition back. So every time you lose that condition, there is only one conclusion. I have to get back to my yoga mat again. I have to get back to my meditation cushion again. Sometimes you just get lost. You discover yoga, you practice, you feel amazing, you feel like reborn. But then you get a new job. Or you ended up in a relationship. It kills your spirit. And in the beginning you don't understand it, it just happens until you're in the middle of it and you feel you are stuck. When you're stuck, get back to your mat. Reconnect. Bring that energy up again. Then the problem that you are dealing with will be solved. Because when your energy goes up again, the insight also comes. The answer to your problem also comes. Naturally. That's death. Death is simply energy just dropping down, and you end up without inspiration, without happiness, joy, without the heart functioning, just only lower emotions and desires, instincts, which is the condition most people, frankly, are in. So for us as yogis, this is everything. Energy. Not just energy, vital energy. Without it, according to the sutra, symbolical language, there's death, not of your physical body, but of your spirit. 40. So long as the energy is restrained in the body, so long as the mind is calm and steady, so long as the vision is directed to the center of the eyebrows, why should there be fear of death? As long as you keep practicing yoga, as long as you keep practicing pranayama, meditation, stay focused, the spirit stays alive. This sutra is emphasizing the previous one. But if I explain it in my words, as long as you keep practicing yoga, as long as you sit on your cushion to meditate, as long as you stay connected, the spirit stays alive. Why would there be fear of death? There are yogis, yoga teachers, who take this literal and they say eternal life is possible. You practice pranayama diligently every day, make sure that you stay in sattva all the time, you can live eternally. And I think even Ajita has made that claim. That's not what this means. This is not about physical life. It's really about the spirit. Everybody will die after 80, 90, 100 years. Maybe sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later, but that's about the lifespan of a human being, physically. So no illusion about that. The mind calm and steady is sattva. As long as the vision is directed to the center of the eyebrows, that is your concentration. When you meditate and you concentrate on nada, you're in the center. You know what happens with your eyes closed. Your eyes turn a little bit inwards, and they call it that you are focused on the spot between the eyebrows. So in the beginning, when I introduced nada to you, I said, if you can't hear nada, don't worry. Just push with your finger here, then concentrate on that feeling. And it really works. It centers you. That's what this is about. The thing is, of course, in life is that sometimes you lose your way. Sometimes you become distracted. Often when change occurs. And there's another element involved. As a human being, we get bored. If you practice yoga every day and your life is very stable, you don't appreciate it anymore. You become restless. You want adventure. You want excitement. And that also can lead to disturbance, to losing your center. And indeed, the spirit dying. And you always find your way back. Once you have experienced yoga, how it elevates your spirit, how it makes you feel great, you will lose it. Everybody will lose it. You always come back. There comes a day that you're so miserable that you think, oh my God, I have to start practicing yoga again. That's human. Everybody will go through that process. 41. When the Nadi chakra has been purified by a properly regulated course of pranayama, the energy forces open the mouth of the Sushumna and easily enter it. In other words, when you are brimming with energy again, when you are full of energy again, the Nadi chakra is the total sum of all your energy channels being purified by Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, the exercise we are now in. The energy forces open the mouth of the Sushumna and easily enter it. Sushumna, that is the third channel. There is Ida, there is Pingala, and that is the condition most people are in. But when, as a result of your practice, there is more energy and the circulation of energy is accelerated, according to this sutra, that naturally leads to the Kundalini phenomenon. The Kundalini phenomenon is the energy rising up that is responsible for the spirit to awaken, that is responsible for the crown chakra to open up, allowing you to manifest those higher or royal characteristics like vision, wisdom, intuition, etc. The message here is, take care of the fundament, the rest is natural consequence. Don't worry too much about those characteristics. Don't worry too much about whether energy is going up or down or what. No, just do your exercise. And it happens before you even know it. (42) When the energy flows through the Sushumna, the mind becomes steady. This steadiness of the mind is a state called Manonmani or Unmani. Manonmani or Unmani is the mantra that is connected with the crown chakra. When you are in a poor condition, the mind is restless. When you are unhealthy, the mind is restless. When you are healthy and full of energy, the mind naturally becomes calm. That is what this sutra is saying. We can refer back to children. In school, there are children who perform very well. There are children who perform poorly. That's not because they are dumb or stupid. It's because their energy condition is not good. And the environment they live in is responsible for that. Children are not responsible for that condition. So children that grow up in a very stable environment, which includes, of course, healthy nourishment, healthy food, they perform very well in school. But children that grow up in a unstable environment, where there is conflict, where there is no regular routine, where they never know whether they're going to have a meal or not, or have to prepare one themselves, they are too scattered and distracted, because an unhealthy body leads to an unhealthy mind, and that translates into mental restlessness. You become mentally chaotic, disturbed, scattered. So also for us as adults, the difference between a restless mind and a calm mind translates into sense of well-being. When the mind is calm, because you are healthy, automatically that leads to sense of well-being, happiness. It's not something you can buy. It's not something that you can say you want to have so you get it. It's a matter of condition. If you're not so healthy and restless, you're lacking a sense of well-being. It's all connected. (43) To attain it, those who know the procedure practice various sorts of kumbhakas. By practice of the various kumbhakas, where the diverse siddhis are obtained. Kumbhakas is another word for pranayama. There are 8 pranayamas after Nadi Shodhana. Siddhis are in fact characteristics located in the crown chakra. We talk about animals because that's basically my full-time job. But you know, one of the siddhis, there are 30 described by Patanjali. One of the siddhis is to be able to talk with animals. That is not verbally talking, that is being able to understand their mind. In Korea you would call it maum. You understand their maum, you understand their need. That was something that was lacking in the center where Babi stayed behind. They became impatient, treated her harsh, out of impatience, thinking she was sabotaging everything. All she needed was a soft hand and love. That is a siddhi. And it is, when we talk about siddhis, which are called supernatural or paranormal abilities, you have them without you even realizing it. And everybody can have them. We call them supernatural or paranormal because it's kind of rare. But it's not supernatural or paranormal at all. Everybody who practices yoga manifests siddhis. When you take care of even plants, you understand how to care for them, just based on your ability to connect with the need of the plant. Most people, just when you visit people and you see most people's plants, they are dying. Plants that should be full of leaves have only 3 leaves left, and the rest is just the branches. So either we give too much water or we give too little water, or we don't actually know exactly what to do. That's normal. But as a yogi, you'll be more and more able to understand. One plant needs water 3 times a week because it's kind of a swamp plant, a tropical swamp plant. But there are other plants, you can leave them for 1 month or even 2 months without water. Even better if you don't give them water, because when you give them water every week, you see that most of the leaves are falling out. You know, in Korea, when you go to the plant market in Gwacheon or Yangjae, when you ask how much water should I give, they always give the same answer: just once a week. Just once a week, give 1 plastic 페트병. 페트병 하나만 주시면 돼요. Regardless of whether it is a cactus or a swamp plant, only just once a week. Then you know what they do? They mix the soil with a lot of styrofoam. You know why they do that? Because they know that you kill your plant. They mix it with a lot of styrofoam, so you pour in 1 bottle of water, most of the water drops out in the bottom. That is how you can, at least some extent, keep the plant alive. But when I buy a plant, I take out all the styrofoam because I know how it works. And I just give water, and if it's a plant like a dracena, you know, the palm-like kind of plants, most of them, they need very little water. So I have a plant at home. Once every 2 months I give it water. Full of leaves. Before, I had another one. It's called a rafis. Huge. But you see rafis in other people's home, it's a couple of stalks with one leaf at the top. Mine was full. But every week, 1 bucket of water. You see? I'm very connected with plants even. That's a siddhi. Sounds stupid, huh? But it's a matter of connecting. Siddhi is nothing else than increased sensitivity. It allows you to connect with other people's mind. You can read, you call it reading people's mind. In Korea, you call it nunjibayo. Everybody says they can nunjibayo. Most people can't. So there are many conflicts and many misunderstandings because everybody thinks they can read people's mind without having that siddhi. So we just guess. And because as human beings we have a natural tendency to guess based on negative thought, we always think the worst. But most people don't have the ability to nunchibayo, to read people's mind. Not in Korea, not in Netherlands, not in Russia, not in China. But it is one of the siddhis. So you can, it is possible. That is siddhi. Jesus Christ in the Bible is described to have done various siddhis, like waking up a dead person. Right? That's one of the siddhis. How that works in practice, I don't know exactly. I think it's symbolism, but anyway. 44. The different kumbhakas are now described. There are 8 kumbhakas, namely Suryabedana, Ujjayi, Sitkari, Sintali, Pastrika, Brahmari, Murcha, and Plavini. In this course, before the course is finished, you will learn 4 of those. Suryabedana, Ujjayi, Sitali, and Sitkari. Somewhere in the future, when we start an advanced course, you will then also learn the last 4. Pastrika, Murcha, Pastrika, Brahmari, Murcha, and Plavini. Then once you understand their typical characteristics, you see a very wonderful logic occurring. The logical build-up. Not only in the pranayamas itself, but the whole of yoga. I try to bring home the message that kriya, if you approach it in the way that it is described, has no logic at all. Being a bridge between asana and actual pranayama. Worse, if pranayama is breath control, there is no logic, there's no connection. But if you see what's behind the symbolism, it all falls into place, and it's all actually one. Yoga without pranayama is no yoga. Yoga without asana is no yoga. Yoga without concentration meditation is no yoga. It has to contain all elements. It's like baking a bread and leaving the salt out. Or like making whatever it is that you make a meal and you leave out an ingredient or 2 or 3, then the meal is not good anymore. Yoga is like that. Many people are practicing yoga that is not complete, is insipid, it's like a meal that is actually not tasty because some ingredients were left out. But we follow an illusion when we go to a fake yoga class, a modern yoga class. Still, I have to say, exercise is always good, but when you understand what yoga is about, then you start to see what is missing in the modern yoga classes. When, at the end of influx, this is a little bit tricky, 45, it's about the bandhas. At the end of influx, puraka, the Jalandhara bandha should be practiced. At the end of kumbhaka, and at the beginning of efflux, rechaka, Uddiyana bandha should be practiced. I have come to the conclusion that the author is spraying sand in your eyes here, like he did before with the booby trap. Saying that something is secret and then telling you to do something harmful. I have asked Ajita about this sutra because his explanation, he actually takes the description serious, and he said you can just ignore that. Why? Because the kumbhaka, the three bandhas, are in place throughout the whole kumbhaka. But only in the kumbhaka, not at the end of influx or the beginning of outflux. Ignore it, forget it. It makes something, it will lead to confusion and distraction if you follow up on this. So we stick to our approach that kumbhaka contains three bandhas, but during inflow and outflow you do not keep yourself busy with the bandhas. 46. Contracting the throat in the Jalandhara bandha and the anus in the Mula bandha at the same time, and by drawing back the abdomen in the Uddiyana bandha, the energy flows through the Sushumna or Brahmanadi. Sutra like this gives the impression that the bandhas are purely physical. There is no other ways to describe it, especially not in the form of a sutra that contains only 1 or 2 sentences. I explained this morning already that the bandhas are subtle, and actually, simply because you sit straight, they are already in place. The neck stretches up, the chin tucks in, Jalandhara bandha, the pelvis tilts, the pelvic bottom muscles contract gently. Most people won't even notice, so it took me a long time to discover. There you have Mula bandha and Uddiyana bandha. Because you sit straight, the belly is tucked in, stretched up and tucked in. That is Uddiyana bandha. That's it, and it happens actually before you even realize it. In the beginning, when you learn about those bandhas, you can indeed, for your own sense of understanding, consciousness, overdo it a little bit. Stretch up the neck a little bit more than natural. Tilt the pelvis a little bit more than natural. And then just observe what you feel. But do not, if a teacher tells you to repetitively contract the pelvic bottom muscle, do not do that. That is not what this means. It leads to rajas, Shakti domination in the bottom. It can lead to sexual arousal. And that is not the goal of yoga. The goal of yoga is sattva. And mostly what we're talking about here is subtle, not purely physical. The Brahmanadi, Brahma, do you remember the meaning of Brahma? It's again about God. Brahmarandra is the cavity of God. It's the crown chakra. That is where your higher characteristics are located. Brahmanadi, that is the energy channel of God. Brahma is God, Nadi is energy channel. That's Sushumna Nadi. The energy channel through which the energy rises up that leads to the opening up of the crown chakra. So no religion, no false belief. It's just an indication that there is something special here. Because Sushumna Nadi is not active in most people. You have to do some special things for that, like yoga or pranayama or meditation. The last one, 47. Raising the apana upwards by contracting the anus. You can erase that, contracting the anus. Raising the apana upwards, the prana should be brought downwards from the throat. The yogin then becomes a youth of 16, freed from old age. This is a little bit complicated, but we are always talking about sattva, harmony. Without harmony, growth comes to a standstill. Apana prana is the energy, the subtle energy of Muladhara chakra. So this is referring to Kundalini phenomenon with Shakti energy rising. But if there's only Shakti energy rising, there's no sattva. So Shakti rising is important because we have a natural tendency to be in a tamas condition, which we destroy the tamas basically by letting Shakti rise, eventually Kundalini rise. But you then counter that with Shiva coming down, which then leads to the Star of David, or the yin-yang model, which is symbolism for harmony. Sattva is not possible with only Kundalini or Shakti or Apana Prana. There are many different words to describe it. It takes two to tango, so to speak. Plus and minus. Okay, what follows, 48, that is the start of Surya Bedana and the other pranayama. So next week we will start at the beginning of the book, chapter 1, Sutra 1. It's very interesting also. Questions? Okay, let's have a short break.